Hey there and welcome to Our Stitching Chronicles, the craft podcast where every stitch tells a story.
We're your hosts. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Kendall. We're here to chat, stitch and explore the stories of our stitching.
So grab your yarn, find a comfy spot and knit along with us as we share projects, stories and hopefully a few laughs along the way.
Let's cast on chapter 3 of Our Stitching Chronicles. What are you wearing, Sarah? Let's jump into it.
Let's go straight into it. Well, this one I think I've showed you. This is my Sailor Swift top. It was really bizarre in between weather, cold this morning but quite warm this afternoon.
We're in very opposite seasons.
We are. I was outside a lot. I think when you're inside, a jumper is acceptable, but I was outside a lot and it got really hot. So, opposite seasons.
There we go.
So what are you wearing, Kendall?
I'm in the Salty Day sweater by Kotova Kika. I did the knit along last year, so I made it for that one. It's what you're wearing in chapter 1.
It is, yes. I love this. What wool did you make this in?
This is Bendigo Woolen Mills.
Yep.
In their mosaic pecan colour.
That's right.
8 ply. Yep.
It's beautiful.
So I knit to pattern except for the sleeve, which I made to match the pattern on the body.
That's right. Yes,
So-
you altered.
Charted those ones.
I know, and she sent me photos when I was working on mine and I was like, I'm so jealous. I don't have the brain capacity to attempt that.
Look, the sleeves aren't
That
even.
looks so good.
You know,
That's fine.
it's fine.
That's awesome.
All right. So today, the main point of today's episode is we have big things to chat about. We finally did it.
Finally. Oh my goodness.
did
It
it.
felt like a marathon.
When did you cast on your sweater that we will talk about in a moment?
25th of December last year.
Yeah, and I was very early days of January. So
Yeah.
here we go. It has been our life for 3 months, but we did it.
Yeah. And when did we? Yeah, we were still working on it on the start of this month. I think we both only finished like a week ago.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
I still haven't blocked mine because I put it in the naughty corner once I'd finished with it.
That's fine.
I was like, I don't want to deal with you right now.
All right, so tell us about your sweater.
So I mentioned in the chapter 2 that I was making my husband the Devon sweater. He wanted a jumper for Christmas. He wanted me to get him the yarn and I was going to knit him a jumper for Christmas. And so I have been working on this. Actually, I think I talked about it in both chapter 1 and chapter 2. Well, it is finally
So if you're a new viewer, we've been making sweaters for our husband.
We have. It is finally off the needles.
It's so good.
And the back is just plain stockinette. My husband is really happy with it. He does love it. He's a lot more gracious than I am. I don't love it. I feel like it does feel kind of homemade, which it is homemade.
Yeah.
But you know when it just, I don't know. But changes that I made, I stuck to the pattern pretty much as closely as I could. I did a double fold collar. And I don't actually like it. I don't think it works.
Are you going to redo it?
I'm going to have to unpick this collar, which is annoying because I already weaved in those ends. Because it's also too wide on him. And I don't know if it's just him, but that looks very feminine when they're wide. So I'm going to pick up less. And I already picked up less stitches than the pattern said. So I'm going to pick up less stitches and do just a regular non-double fold collar. And the other thing that I changed was I knit the stitches in the sleeves in the round. So I picked up the stitches and I just knit in the round because I was really sick of knitting and purling back and forth by the end of it.
Yeah.
But overall, I am so proud of myself.
Very cool.
I got it done. There was
It's so warm.
A lot of tears, so warm.
Yeah.
A lot of tears and frustrations with the pattern. I did not love that pattern. I think I'm still reasonably new in my knitting adventures, and I don't think that it's really written for a newbie. Like,
did you have a chart to follow?
There was a chart. The chart was easy.
Yeah.
I could understand the chart. The issue was the instructions were like, you know how a pattern's like row 1, row 2, row 3, and you know what you need to do when. Whereas this was like, you're going to be doing this and then you're going to be doing this. And I'm like, well, am I doing them at the same time? Am I doing them after each other? There was a lot of confusion, but Dave loves it, and that's all that matters. The yarn, I mean, I love the yarn, but I also don't love the way it feels. But that, I think...
It's feeling okay when I'm holding it.
Yeah. I feel the yarn, though. I don't know. I think you're right. The body feels better.
It feels better once it's blocked.
The arms. I've blocked the front and the back, and I'm not
block your work. It helps the yarn.
Yeah. But, yeah, it was a completely organic, untreated wool. And so, but I love the flex.
Yeah.
And it had that, like, real sheepy smell, which I kind of love.
Yeah.
I do love that. But yeah, so, you know, if I were to make it again, probably attempt to do it in the round, see if I can...
But would you really make it again?
No, there's probably very, very little chance that would happen. But if I were, that's probably what I would do.
Yeah. Yep.
But,
knitting back and forth flat is not for you?
I don't love it, but having said that, when I talk about one of my whips, I can come back to that question.
Okay.
I'll re-answer that question in a moment. The other thing with this jumper was I thought I was going to be playing yarn chicken.
Yes.
I bought exactly the grams that the pattern said, but my yarn was slightly thicker.
Yep.
This is what I had left over. So I bought 8 hanks, and I've got...
2 basically.
Nearly 2. Yeah. I think I took out like 20 grams out of this one. So might make a beanie or something for Dave.
What weight is it?
It's chunky.
Yeah.
Yes, I think it was supposed to be, the pattern was like 12 ply.
Yeah.
So yeah. What should I make?
There you go.
A bit exciting.
Yeah.
Leftover yarn. It's like
Could
free projects. Yeah. Anyway, tell us about yours.
So I've been married for just gone 2 years, and like you can follow the different themes for gifts. So last year it was paper, and I made a print. This year it was cotton, so I was like, when Sarah and I started talking, she was making a sweater for her husband. I was like, I could make a cotton sweater. So that's what I did. And we let our husbands choose what pattern they wanted, so it would be a jumper that they wanted to wear. So your husband chose Devon.
He chose 6 patterns, and I chose the final one.
I think I chose 6 and then let him pick the final.
Yeah.
So he went with the Haskins, which is this one here. It's all from cotton. It's a really fine cabling pattern across the front and the back. So front and back has the same pattern. Yarn over and I think it's a 2-stitch cable. So it's just one over the other. It's very, very fine. All the way down. Thankfully the sleeves were plain, except for like a small decorative detail along the seam. It took so long. And like you, I changed the collar to be a double folded collar. The pattern used just a flat one.
Yours works though.
It works, but I'm going to make some changes.
Okay.
So it told you to look at the garment right side and then finish with a purl all the way around. And I did that. But I think because I then did the double folded collar, it's pushed the purl out to the front. And so it kind of looks like this design detail. Yeah. Which I don't love. So
it almost looks inside out actually.
Yes. Yeah. Right? So it's not. I followed all the instructions that's supposed to be there. And then I did put a purl on the top to try and make it fold better. But now that combined with the other purl, it's just a bit glitchy. So I'll probably let him wear it for this season because we're going into autumn and winter. Yeah. And then
technically in autumn, but we've had one day of rain since like December, November, and it's been like 40. Yeah. Mind you, the last few days have only been
like, it's in its 30s. It's cool.
Yes. It's only 33.
30.
Win.
So I think we'll leave it for this season, and then we'll come back to it.
That's a good idea.
The other thing is because it's all knit flat, like yours was. I did some seaming, and then like I looked at it, and like you were saying, it just looked really handmade and homemade, and I was like, I'm gonna have to redo the seaming. So I went and did it again, watched a couple of videos, decided on a different way to do it, did mattress stitch. Realized when you do mattress stitch, you're supposed to be facing the right side, so you're seaming it with you facing you. So then I had to do it again for a third time.
Oh, that would just...
So that was only up here on the sleeves, because the sides were okay. I think I fixed up a few spots, but because the sleeves have this like decorative detail,
yeah,
it was looking like it wasn't supposed to be there. So I know how to seam garments properly now.
Yes.
Woohoo!
It's always a win when we learn new skills.
The other thing that this pattern had to do was you cast on using the tubular cast on.
Yes.
On waist yarn.
Yep.
So you kind of like, you choose a different colour yarn, you knit a couple of rows, and then you actually like have to cut that off. And it was terrifying. So I haven't gone down the pathway of steeking yet.
No.
Where you have to cut your knitting. And that felt pretty close to it.
Yeah. And it's a 2 knit, 2 purl.
Yeah, 2 knit, 2 purl. Yeah. Which is what the collar should have been, but... Oh, no, it is. The collar is that, but it was just supposed to be flat, not double folded.
I love this. I love this. Did we hold it right up for them?
Yeah, right up. There are a couple of mistakes. It's not perfect.
So beautiful.
We're just going to go with it.
And he looks good in it.
Yeah. We'll throw in some footage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Took some photos. Throw in some footage.
Woohoo.
Yes. And so now I think after 2 years, the next one that I could possibly knit something for, I think, is 7 years, where it's something wool.
Is linen on there at all?
Yeah, but you can't really... Oh, I guess you could...
You could do a linen blend.
Yeah. We'll come back to that one too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I think I've got like a 5-year break now before I have to
making something else.
So, finished sweaters. They are done. We are proud. They can wear them.
Yeah. Yes.
And like, I think that you said that yours looks... You feel like yours looks like handmade, homemade. I feel the same. But when I look at yours, I don't see that. So I think it's that thing of we've been looking at them for 2-3 months, and you did a couple of other things in there. I literally pretty much, that's all I did since mid-January.
Yeah.
And so it's just all I've been looking at, and I see every imperfection. And I think if I put it away for a month and then bring it back out, I'll be like, oh, no, like it's great.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, and when I saw it on Dave, minus the collar, it did look good.
Yeah.
And so, and I think he loves it. And at the end of the day, is that all that matters? Yeah. And I think with the collar, I'm actually wondering if I could put some elastic in it.
Yeah.
And just to bring it in a little. So I'll experiment with some things before I undo it because that would be painful.
Yes. Or it will sit in the naughty pile for a while.
Yeah.
I have one more finished object.
Yes, I know.
An unsurprising... Nope.
A surprise.
A surprising one.
Yes.
It was not on my Make 9, but I got selected to test a pattern for Sari Nordlund. It hasn't been released yet, but I assume it's coming sometime soon. And it's the Bon Bon scarf. And so it's just perfect for working up little scraps and things. So what appears to be like an I-cord edge, and then worked on the bias. So it's garter stitch, and that makes it look like it's worked on the bias. We'll put a photo if that's not working.
Yeah.
But then it's just like a really cute scarf. Like
I love the colour of that.
Yeah, so I had some, oh gosh, I can't say it, Malabrigos, Silky Merino in a DK.
I can't say it either.
In the colour Sabajuria.
Marabrigos?
Marabrigos? Yeah.
Marabrigo? I don't know.
We'll
write it on the screen so you can read it.
Yeah. Probably absolutely completely botching that. But yes.
Feels nice.
Really soft.
Yeah.
Haven't blocked this one yet either.
Yep.
Was a great project just to do when I was out and about. Not a lot of thinking goes into it.
Yeah. And I think after the jumpers we needed. Yeah.
And by that stage the jumper had gotten too big to take around with me. So I was still working on this while the jumper was going, but only just. And a couple of friends that have seen me knit them are like, oh, like I really want one. I'm like, this feels like the kind of investment that you could do and you could give to someone. Yeah. And it would be okay if it went through the wash and they ruined it or they lost it. Like it feels like a good gifting amount.
Yeah, a gift knit. Yeah, when you're gonna gift someone that. Yeah.
And like I've seen them everywhere. People like are wearing the cute little cotton ones or like
Yeah.
Just be a good little
Love it.
fall winter.
I do love the colour too.
Yeah, and the colour
Beautiful.
looks, when I was taking a photo, the colour comes up better on camera than in person. So,
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. Lots of different flecks. And it doesn't look like it's pooling, which I really appreciated. So I didn't have to change
Yep.
yarn throughout.
Awesome. Well, look at
us
you
with
with
our
your
Make Nines.
two.
Come off.
Yeah, I make nine update for you.
Yep.
Sorry.
I've finished one, but I've cast on multiple.
Yes. We'll get to that.
We'll get to them
after.
Your Make Nine update.
I think I did it. I've finished. Oh, have I not done it? Oh, Make Nine update. I have finished 3 now.
Yep.
And I have cast on 2 more.
There we go. Should we get to those 2 more?
That is a really great segue.
Yeah.
I'm going to pause here though because look at you. You're always thinking. She's always thinking about everything. Seriously, I have a problem, and she's like, "Have you thought of this?" I was like, "No, of course I haven't thought of this. You have."
Have you just opened an Excel spreadsheet and kept time? All this
Oh my gosh, I want to talk. I do want to talk about that. I just got up, so I'm going to have to get close to you. Need a water break. Which I can edit out.
Put it in the B-roll. Just taking a sip.
Just pausing. Hang on. Go like this with my... So, see if that works. Anyway. Okay, so that is a great segue into what are you currently working on?
Okay, so as I said, I have cast on 3 of my Make Nines, and I've made decent progress on them.
Yeah.
We both Sarah and I have cast on items and made substantial progress on them that we were maybe we'll finish them. We didn't, but that's okay.
Close.
I have cast on the Book Club Cardigan.
Should we turn it?
Yeah.
That way.
So sleeves and body are done. I've now just got to work out the pockets, decide what length I'm going to go to.
Body's not done.
Oh, sorry, the body up to the pockets.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
So I just need to do the rest of the body, decide where the pocket's going to go.
Yeah. Are they in cut out pockets?
There's instructions to follow. I'm a bit scared.
You've got this.
Same with the button band. I'm ooh.
You've got the button band.
We'll talk about the button bands. So I did a mid-project block because I was getting close to the sleeve being done, but thought that it was still looking quite short. And I was like, I'll just block it. And I knew that it might grow. It's Bendigo Woolen Mills in a wool, a limited range. They're bamboo twist. So it's cactus. The colourway is cactus. It's 97% wool, 3% bamboo. And so I thought that might kind of just change how it looks after it's blocked. So I did a mid-project block once the sleeve was almost done. And then the sleeve grew from like that much.
Yeah, wow.
So I was like, okay, we need to bind off and start. We need to start the ribbing and then bind off. And then I could just do the other one to match that. So if you look, you can actually see which one's being blocked and which one hasn't.
Yeah, and you can see how that's
it changes the pattern so much. Yep.
So nice.
So yes, I'll just keep going now. I don't need to block it again till I finish.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is the Book Club Cardigan. I did listen to lots of people's feedback and comments about the pattern, and I did buy some extra yarn. But as I was saying to you, so far this is 1.5, just over 1 or 1 3/4.
Yeah. Not much.
I've got 4, so I think I'll be fine.
Yeah.
I can probably keep it going a little bit longer than
it
doesn't have to be as cropped as I thought it might. So,
which is a win.
Yeah. Did have to do some cable surgery.
Which I'm so impressed by.
On the motifs at the back, and there is only one spot where it's really obvious that I had to do some work because I didn't quite line up the row that I was working on from the chart properly, but I'm glad that I actually stopped there and noticed it because I would have just kept going if the ball of yarn hadn't ended there. So
that was handy.
Yeah.
What would you have done? Would you have frogged back or?
Depends how far. Yeah.
And how obvious?
It was pretty obvious. The cables should have been coming back to meet. And they were
that's right. I remember. Yeah.
So, yeah. Mostly fine.
It's beautiful. And we discussed that you were unsure about the colour when you first...
Yep. But if you go and put it in the sunlight, it's a beautiful, beautiful, like, bright green.
And so you're happy with it now?
So I think I'm happy with it.
Yes. I love it, personally. And I think it's going to look really good on you.
I'm so stoked. Next time, it'll be finished. I even was like, I'm going to a wedding next weekend. But in my mind, the wedding's ages away. And I've got this beautiful green dress. And it'll be cooler at night. I was like, oh... I'll have my Book Club cardigan to wear and it will be like just the best. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's like next weekend. And I know the kind of week I have, I don't think it's going to be done. Oh. So that's fine. In my mind, I thought April was months away.
Oh.
No, we're in it.
Someone said to me on Thursday, have you started on the such and such assignment? And I was like, that's not due for ages. It's like in April. And she was like, it's a week.
Yeah. So.
I haven't started.
Yeah, we'll see. There's hope. It's probably not going to happen though.
You got this.
We'll see. So there's that one.
Love that.
Really excited to pick that one back up. While that was mid-project blocking, I was like, what do I do? I've been in solo project for so long.
Before that, you needed something for your lunch break.
Oh, yeah.
That came first. That came first.
The Book Club cardigan is a chart. There's 42 stitches in the chart. I needed something a bit more brainless to take my lunch breaks. So I cast on my second item from my Make 9, which is the Musselburgh Hat. We've made progress on this. Now I'm just like knitting straight. So
I'll help out. I'll help out and you.
So yeah, I had some Fiore DK yarn in a merino. And this is the colour Jam Jumble. It's really soft. Like super soft. Super colourful. You'll notice I've got 2 balls coming from the same project.
Yep.
I didn't want the yarn to pull.
Yeah.
So every 2 rows I'm swapping.
Yes, love that.
And I haven't yet decided. I need to make a decision really soon because I'm getting close. But I haven't decided if I'm going to do the whole thing in this colour because I've got enough yarn, or whether I'm going to do the inside a solid colour so it's reversible and has like a solid colour here and then the pattern. I'm not sure.
I think both would look really good.
Yeah, it might just depend on where I get up to, and if I don't have the yarn, I'll just keep going.
And that will be the hard thing. I mean, depending how closely you wanted to match the yarn to this.
I would want the same brand. I'd want to mix the same brand myself. Yep. So yeah, that's been my lunchtime one. Haven't had to think about it a lot. There are increases every round, but that's what the stitch markers do. Yeah.
So this was blocking, and you were like, I need something while this is blocking. And I said, well, what about your Musselburgh? And you were like, no, that's a lunchtime project. Yep.
So, because we're allowed to live in multiple work in progress land again.
Why not?
No looming deadlines of wedding anniversaries.
Yes.
I cast on my first petite knit pattern. So you haven't done a petite knit?
I've not yet done a petite. I have one on my list, but I've not yet done one.
So I cast on my first petite knit pattern. Look, I've been calling it the Sille Slipover, but it might be the Sille Slipover. I need to do some proper investigation to how you say it. Sille. And it has this beautiful, beautiful pattern all the way through. But that beautiful, beautiful pattern has caused me much stress because the pattern gives you instructions and a chart to follow up until about here. And then it's like, just keep working in pattern as established. And I'm like, what? What do you mean? Yeah. So you have to, you've got the chart there to follow, but you're kind of just working out which row of the pattern and what stitch number to start at for each one, which is fine if you feel like your brain is up and functioning. But if you've just been at work all day and you're like, no. Yeah, there's just a bit of effort and thought that needs to go into it. So both Sarah and I were deep diving. Sarah's been a huge help to me for this project. I've helped her with one of hers.
I don't think I helped that much in the end. I was like, I don't understand either. But we did do deep dives.
We deep dived on Ravelry. Found lots and lots of helpful notes from 2 accounts, which we'll probably just pop down below. Yeah. Who also, I don't know if they're doing the same size as me, but had very similar issues.
Yeah. And some of them even
it was
put
like
their
I just
solutions.
missed an instruction.
Yeah. It's like something is missing.
Yeah.
Because,
even if that something is missing in my understanding, that's fine. But it was like something is just not quite.
The crazy thing is, on Ravelry, everybody loved it. And there were so many people who were like, oh, I'd heard that there were so many challenges with this, but I found it so easy.
Mindless,
and I'm
easy
like,
to knit. I was like,
wow, I know I'm new, but...
maybe it's just my turn brain.
Maybe.
But yeah, so we're getting there.
But it's looking good.
Yeah.
It has been in the naughty corner for a little while.
So I reached the point where you would now join to the front, but I haven't done the front yet. So I've got to come back and pick up stitches for the left shoulder and the right shoulder.
Yeah.
And then join. And I think once I've joined in the circle, like in the round, it should be smooth sailing. There is another slight glitch that can happen when you're joining in the round. Sometimes there's a little jog in the pattern.
Yes, I saw that.
But that's a problem for later.
And I'm pretty sure one of the accounts that we found put a fix for that. They said something.
Yeah.
There's a few people that have mentioned that one, and they've said how they fixed it. Is that going to have some kind of like
yes, it does.
Excuse me.
It's ribbing.
Like ribbing, yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. It's going to look amazing when it's done, and the yarn is
perfect. Perfect autumn, winter, depending on when I get it done. Just neutral vest.
Yeah.
So excited for a staple.
For those that have been here since episode 1, chapter 1, the yarn she's using is. Do you remember the yarn that I fell in love with? And I was
so squishy.
like, I'm just gonna So that's the yarn she's using.
Morrison Sons Empire 10-ply.
Merino?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's beautiful.
It's great.
Squishy.
And that's this is my second ball. So it is also getting through a fair chunk before I'm needing to change it.
Yeah, because they're 50 grams, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm so used to working with Bendigo's 200 grams.
I know.
I haven't had to weave in it in for ages.
I know. Or that my chunky, that lasted a fair while too. I was like, wow, this will just keep going.
Yeah. But yes, I feel like I've made sufficient progress on my cast-ons. And I've all got this blue, green, ready, pinks, white happening, which feels very autumn.
Yeah,
so.
loving it.
Yep.
And the pink just brightens it up.
Yeah.
Gives a little something.
Yep, there's an orange through there. That's autumn.
Yeah. Well, my whips, I have been, I think, let me organise my thoughts. After the Devon sweater, I needed just something for me.
Yeah.
And I think partway through the Devon sweater, that's when I cast on the Sundazed, which I'm going to segue here. I think I was going to talk about this at the end, but I'm going to segue it now. You guys, I got some of my friends who watched the podcast and then told me in person what their vote was. Yep. Some lovely people commented saying what their vote was. I am going to try and put a ribbing on this.
Yes.
Because I tried wearing it the other day and I was just like, no, don't like it. So I have to do something. But
the next problem.
Oh, I can't even find. I had it all organised. Where did it go?
Did we leave it in the kitchen?
Oh, no, here it is.
Oh, phew.
Let's try that again. But this is all I have left. How much did we weigh? This was 25
grams.
25 grams.
And so this was 190.
190.
No?
Yeah, 191.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking I have enough if I just do maybe 5 rows, 5 or 6 rows of ribbing. So I don't really want to buy a whole
not just to that
new one just for that. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. This is also really low, I've discovered.
Yeah.
So
it looks like it's stretched.
Yeah, I'm going to make it shorter so that should hopefully be less yarn.
Yep.
So that's what I'm going to do. And I cast this on when I was doing the Devon because I needed something for me. But I think because I didn't love it the way it was, I was like, I want something for me. So my poor whip, the top I've been making for my dad. Sorry, Dad, that has been on hold.
You know what though? You've got
I haven't made.
Not gonna wear it again until spring, so I feel like you've got a couple months.
This is true, and I made 0. I think I've done 4 rows since we last filmed, which is terrible. So that's kind of sitting there just until I recover. But I cast on the Rose Cardigan. So I think I talked about in chapter 2 that I had a different cardigan on my Make 9, but I couldn't find yarn for it that I wanted or that worked. But I found this gorgeous alpaca. It's Alpaca Allure, I think it was called.
Yes, from Fibre Feast. Yeah.
I picked up at Fibre Feast in this gorgeous,
It's really soft.
what is the colour called again?
Grey.
Grey Commander, it's called,
okay.
which, I mean, I love that.
Grey something.
And so I have been working on this beautiful cardigan.
So soft.
Just how soft it is.
Yep.
Is beautiful. And I'm loving the raglan increases here, except you can see where I got confused with my increases and I knit through the wrong loop. So I think I picked up from the right side but knit through the wrong. So my stitch was like twisted and open.
Yeah.
Which is very annoying, but that's
So
okay.
soft.
I was too late to go back. I wasn't 100% sure if it was going to fit me.
Yes.
So, but I knew that this was going to block out really well.
Yeah.
And so it fits as it is, but I think when it blocks out, it's just going to be perfect. And I'm so glad that I trusted my gut, because when I joined in the round under the sleeves, like split for the sleeves, split for the body, split the sleeves for the body, whatever.
Yeah.
When I didn't join in the round, when I did this bit, I was like, that's going to be so small. That's not going to fit my armholes. And I was really worried. And so I put a lifeline in and I kept going, and I was going to do a mid-project block, but I didn't want to.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's just
No,
who
and
I
also,
am.
like, it means putting it down for a couple of days.
Yeah.
And so if you are in the mood and you just want to keep going with it, you can't.
And
Which is what was frustrating for me. I was like, oh,
even
what
though
do we
it
do
is
now?
done flat, it's so, like, the pattern is like a rib stitch that alternates. So you got 4 like knit, 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 purl, 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 and then you have a row of, because you're doing it flat, it's a row of pearls, but on the right side it'll be knits. And then you alternate, it'll be purl, 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 knit, knit, knit. So the knits
you've
sit
got
on
the
top
knit
of the
breaking
pearls.
off. Yeah.
And yeah, there's just a row. Yeah. And so it's quite easy to do, and it works quite fast. And so,
It's beautiful.
yeah, I thought I might be able to get the sleeves done, but I had this suspicion that I might actually be allergic to this wool.
Which is after I was sneezing at the stall.
Yeah, you were coughing, I think.
Yeah,
I think maybe
coughing.
both.
Yeah.
I can't remember you, but there was definitely coughing, because that's what I had. I had this bizarre cold-like
It's like
thing
it dries out my throat and I cough.
where I didn't feel like I was sick, but I had.
But my
coughing and
loom
the-
sweater is alpaca yarn.
Yeah.
And I found the same when I was working with it. I was a bit sneezy, I was a bit coughy, I had a sore throat. Once I washed it and I wear it, it's fine.
Yeah.
So it was just when I'm working with it and it's like near my face that much, I seem
Yeah.
to react. So I'm
And I
hoping,
think when you're knitting with it, all the like loose fibres,
Yeah.
because it is quite fibrous. Oh,
Yeah.
like, I wish that you could feel how beautiful this is.
and I have seen a couple of people, they bought the same yarn at Fibre Feast or have bought it at another festival since then. And they're also just like, oh my gosh, it's so soft. Like, I
Yeah.
can't wait to work it up and see what it's like.
I
So,
love working with it.
Yeah.
Can we also
And they won
discuss?
an award.
Pardon?
They won an award.
Good.
Yeah.
They deserve to.
Yeah, I know. So I was like, oh, look.
Yeah.
Award-winning yarn right there.
Yes, nailed it.
Yeah.
So I will say for the pattern, now that I'm into it, it's great.
Yeah.
Now that I figured it out, it's great. At first, there was a lot of frustration. I didn't understand. And so, hit Kendall up and I'm like, am I crazy? Like, what am I doing wrong here?
My brain goes to like math brain and like working out, has Sarah followed the instructions properly? Because she didn't think she had, but I was looking at it going, I think she has.
And I couldn't figure out where I'd gone wrong.
So I was like, all right, let's have a look at the pattern together. I was putting them in row by row into like a Google spreadsheet and like checking stitch count so we could work out what had gone wrong, what the instructions meant. And that's when we worked out that it was just being very, very explicit and over-explaining.
What it had done is it had said, before you go on, you have to read all of these instructions. And then it explained what you were going to do. And I thought I had to do that and then I had to do the next bit. But this explanation was explaining what these
Yeah.
instructions
Yeah.
in the pattern were.
So you already followed
So
it.
I'd followed it
Yeah.
based off of the written instructions, which was really hard. I mean, it was hard. It wasn't really hard, but it was hard. And then I got to this part and I was just like, well, hang on a minute. What?
I feel like knitting is the real test of a reading comprehension.
Yes. Definitely is.
Did you really understand what you were supposed to do there? Yes or no?
I will say, back when I was teaching, I would say to my students all the time, you have to read all of the instructions first. I don't do that with a pattern. I read it as I go.
You did though.
I did in this one, and it did me dirty. So, but once I figured it out, once I figured it out, the pattern is actually quite simple and it's good.
And we've got the stitch counts row by row now.
And I have to say, her arm, like I picked up for the sleeves, and you know when you pick up for sleeves from the top down, there's always those little holes, and there's all these like tips and tricks on Instagram that you see. I didn't even need to follow them because she had written it into the pattern perfectly. So it's right there. Yeah. So you can't even tell. Oh, if it doesn't work, I'll show you a photo. But there are no holes in my armpit. And she wrote, like, I just followed her instructions to the T. And it was because normally you like pick up the extra and then you do a decrease, whereas she's just got you to cast on less in the underarm and then pick up more to make the pattern seamless. Loved
Genius.
it. So I'm up to the sleeves. I'll do them, and then I have the button band. Yes, which we are going to.
Neither of us have ever done a double knit button band.
No.
So
I've never done double knit anything.
Neither. If you've got any tips or tricks or things we should watch, we'd love to see them because we're going to have to do some reading and watching before we start.
There will be some YouTube viewing for that.
Sure. Yeah.
And I'm sure there'll be some messages.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing I cast on, I went away with a bunch of friends recently, and it was a wonderful time. And I thought, I just need something a little bit more simple.
Yeah.
So I cast on...
Which you could have cast on a Musselburgh. However,
I could have.
It's a bit of brain power to get started, so...
Yeah, I just... And, in hindsight, because part of my issue is I miss knitting in the round. It's like just the simple. But, so I cast on this scarf for my husband. I'd had in my Make 9 that I was going to do the, I think it's the Cyrus scarf by Hilary Smith Callis, I think her name is, with this Craft by Bella sock yarn. Kingfisher is the colourway. And then I realised that the yarn is 4-ply.
Yeah.
Because it's sock yarn. Well, not that sock yarn's always 4-ply, but it was a 4-ply and the pattern was for 8-ply. So I did a little hunting and I found another free pattern. It is the Joy Scarf. The Joy Scarf is what it's called with the. By Alex Collins Designs, and I absolutely love this pattern. Like, it's a free pattern, but it is, and sometimes they can be a little hard to follow, but I feel like she has put a lot of, I mean, it's a 2-row repeat, but she's really thought it through, and it's very easy to understand, very easy to follow, and there is not a single purl stitch. So where I've got these here, so this is done like garter stitch kind of thing. And then this is done through slip stitch. That one, done through a slip stitch. I'm not alternating my skeins just because I can't really without weaving in a whole bunch of ends, and I'm not interested in that. So if it pulls, it pulls. That's fine. Yeah. It's a scarf, like he won't care. And it has this beautiful slip stitch I-cord kind of edging, which I've never done before, but love it. And it's like...
That was the same. That was the first time I'd worked on that one.
Yeah. So you like slip 3 stitches and then you turn the project and then you knit them. And it just makes a really seamless edge. Yeah. Yep. So I'm just slowly but surely working through that. It takes me like 2 minutes to do a row. So when I'm just...
Chilling. Watching uni.
Yeah. So yeah, that's that one. And I think that's my voice just got really high there.
Really high.
I think that's all my whips.
There you go.
Yeah,
So-
just I'm really mainly focusing on my rosé.
And I'm on my book club.
Yeah.
So I reckon by next podcast, unless things go like pear-shaped and we just really fall in love with other things,
Yeah.
I reckon your rosé will be done and my book club will be done.
Yes.
Well, dependent on the double knit.
Knit band. We've got
Button
this.
band.
Seriously, we can do this.
We can do it.
It's just new
Yeah.
and scary.
I have no acquisitions to report. That was last month. Do
Yeah.
you?
I do. I was talking about how I just really wanted something in the round,
yeah.
and I was
Yep.
looking at the Sweetheart sweater, which is on my Make 9, and I really struggled to find yarn that would meet the gauge. I did a few swatches of some different yarns that I have, and I don't really want to buy a 4-ply and 2 strands of mohair. Like, it's just a lot of money. I've spent a lot of money on yarn this year.
But I do
already.
like that you're tracking.
Yes.
Like, so you know what you've spent.
I started a
very
Google
cool.
spreadsheet to
Yeah.
track everything that I buy for my knitting hobby,
Yeah.
including like if I buy needles or
Yeah.
anything like that and all the yarn, and I've put it in a spreadsheet and I'm doing all right.
Data brain loves that. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I have spent a little bit too much though, so I just couldn't justify it. So looking at what she says as she's about to show the acquisitions. So I looked at some yarn that I did have, and I showed you this yarn, I think in chapter 1.
Yeah.
And I thought, I wonder if this will work for the coffee run.
Yeah.
And can I swap out? So the coffee run, the Sweetheart sweater was from Katova Kika's book.
Knits to Wear.
Knits to Wear. All my Katova Kika or Veronica Lindbergh patterns on my Make 9 have been from that book. And so I looked through it, and I really wanted to make the coffee run sweater. And I thought, you know what? I can. It also calls for a 4-ply with 2 strands of mohair, but I knit up a swatch in 5-ply.
Yeah.
And without anything
Okay.
together, and I met the gauge.
There we go.
So
Sometimes things like this happen.
I only had one hank of this, which I've caked up. It is the the Fiore Lino silk. So it's merino, silk, and linen. I'll give you the exact percentages in a moment. And it's a 5-ply. So I think there's about 350 meters to 100 grams.
Yep.
But I only had one, and it met the gauge, and I should have brought the gauge to show you,
Yeah,
because it knits
beautiful
up
colours.
so beautifully, and I
Yeah.
love the
Yeah.
colours. So I did have to go online
Yep.
and bought I bought myself 2 more so that I'll have enough
Yay.
to make.
Yeah.
So this is hand dyed. It's the colourway Tortoise Shell
Oh, of course.
225.
Yep.
And it's 60% Australian extra fine merino, 20% silk, and 20% linen. So
Feels nice.
I will be able to knit these on the 5mm needles
Great.
that she has suggested.
It's going to be nice and airy.
And I would have loved to have gone into, so I got them from Yarn Trader. Would have loved to have gone into the shop, but it's too far from my house. And I looked on Skein Machine's website, and they didn't have this colour,
Yeah.
which was really upsetting. So I thought I have to make it worth it. And I knew that I was going to need a second skein of this, because this is what I was knitting my husband's Musselburgh
Yes.
out of, and he
Yeah.
wants it all one colour. So
Yeah.
I thought I'm probably going to need a
Yeah.
second.
Yep.
So I added
Beautiful.
this in. So that's my acquisitions
Yeah. With purpose.
with purpose.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Yep.
Coffee Run will hopefully be cast on by the next episode.
And technically, I did put an order in for some yarn, but it hasn't arrived yet. So,
Oh my gosh. Tell me more. Can you tell me more?
so because I made my husband the sweater, he bought me some yarn. So I did a wool warehouse order.
Oh, is this the one
So
that
I got the mustard drops. Yeah.
We'll talk about that in another episode.
Next time.
But I am so excited for that.
And we'll talk about what we're planning to do with that one, which is not on our Make 9s, but
Yes.
a bit of an addition. So
Because I've been looking at mine going, oh, I do kind of want to start that.
I know. So
That's
Next time.
exciting. Yeah, that's exciting.
yeah,
That's all my acquisitions.
yeah, I think that's all of mine. Yeah,
And we've,
that's where we're at.
yeah, that's where we're at. Not much really to talk about. I am going to, and I think, is it Sarah from Two Pearls in a Pod?
Yes.
Yeah.
About the Ravelry notes. Yeah.
She mentioned that she wants to be more intentional in updating her Ravelry notes. And I have to say that I don't really know how to use Ravelry properly. I'm only just really starting to explore it. I know how to buy patterns and look for patterns.
Yeah.
But it was when I was knitting, I think it started with the Devon sweater and I was confused about a section in it, and I went to Ravelry, and so many people don't put in-depth notes, which is fine because I mean technically it's for them. But when I found someone that did, I was like, bless you, child.
Yes. Yeah. And same with the slipover ones. I was like, oh my goodness, this is so helpful.
Yeah.
Even just to know that someone else was having the same struggles I was having.
Validated.
Yeah.
And you know then that it's not you.
Yeah.
But I was the first, and I don't know if anyone else has cast on since, but I'm the first pattern for the Rose cardigan on
Which
Ravelry.
There's no other projects.
It is fun. It's cool being the first. Whoop, whoop. But my issue was when I was confused. I had nowhere to turn to. So I am aiming to try and ensure that if I struggle with any point in a pattern, I want to note it down, even if I don't have a solution, just so that other people can know, oh, it's not just me.
Yeah.
But I will try and put in what my solution was.
And I've tried to be more accurate with like the amount of yarn that I use, and I'll weigh my project at the end and just pop that in. I'm trying to even put in like what hook I use in case, or what needle size I use in case I put them away.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to keep it as a bit of a database there of like
well,
what it actually do, like what sleeves. So I didn't even mention for book club, I did cast on sleeves that were about 2 sizes up.
Yeah.
But I want to make sure that's in my notes so that I know what I've done in case I make them again.
The yarn was another thing that got me thinking about it, because when I was looking at the Sweetheart, I was like, what alternatives have people done? Because surely other people are in the same situation as me where we can't afford that amount of mohair. And so I was looking through what people have used, what yarns. So far everyone has used 2 strands of mohair. So I'll get there. But yeah, so I think that's a little personal goal that I'm going to try and do is be a bit more intentional with my Ravelry.
Yeah. I was thinking of you this morning as well when I was like speeding through trying to finish the rest of the chart for the sleeve and then the ribbing. I was like, I'm really not like sitting in this and enjoying the process like Sarah said she was going to try and do. I'm really just trying to like get this done.
Yeah.
So I'll enjoy the rest of it thoughtfully. But just for that moment, I needed to be in speed.
I have to say, when I was finishing up the Devon, I was very much just like, I just want to get this done. But I'm really enjoying the process of this one and of this one. So, yeah.
That's it. Having a couple things that are just...
Keep my mindfulness.
Yeah.
I did, one of my university subjects, we had to do I think it was the mental health challenge. We had to choose from a list of things, and one of them was like doing some kind of an activity. Yeah. And so it could be journal writing, it could be something methodical and rhythmic and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, knitting?
I'm already there.
I was like, I already do it.
I did it already.
That'll make it easy.
Don't add anything to it. Just pick up what you're already doing.
Yep. So I put that down and...
You're allowed to knit for uni.
Yep, that's right. And then if anyone says anything, excuse me, I'm doing homework.
Yeah.
So mind you, it was only 10 minutes a day. I was definitely an overachiever.
Yeah.
Got more than 10 minutes.
Absolutely. All right. That's it from us.
Yeah.
But we would love to hear if you have any solutions for the Sille Slipover and the problems I've been facing. Would love to hear them. But we would also love to hear...
What have you been working on? Do you have like a favourite project that you've done, a pattern that you love and maybe we could pick up? I'm very much... I'm
like really reliable pattern designer.
Yes.
That just never fails you. Yeah.
I saw a really interesting podcast on YouTube. I cannot remember who it was. I think it was like Autoplay.
Yes.
And she was talking about, it's a bit controversial it was, but she finds a lot of the designs coming out at the moment are a bit boring. They're all kind of the same. Yeah. And so she highlighted a bunch of designers that she found really interesting and were bringing out different things. So do you have someone that you think's awesome and you'd like to highlight?
That's
Pop
what I
it in
like
the
about
comments.
the Rose one too. That like
not
overly well known, but beautiful pattern.
And I didn't actually say the pattern designer for this one. It is, I can never remember her name, Leanie, where is it?
Leanie Hamila.
Leanie Hamila from Urban Knits.
Yep.
So Leanie Hamila from Urban Knits. And I just followed her on Instagram and I saw this and was like, I'm doing it. So, you know, she's a awesome little designer.
Yeah.
You could check her out.
Yep.
And this one, I mean, Alex, what was her name? Alex Collins Designs.
Yeah, cool.
And there's another one that I've now got in my repertoire. So put in the comments any others that you think we should check out.
We will.
And we will, yeah.
All right. Well, sounds good. Thank you for watching chapter 3.
Thanks for joining us.
Happy knitting.
Yes. Yeah, we'll see you next time.
See ya.
See you guys.